Hey guys, good morning. Let me set up this room real quick and then we can get started. So today is June 1st. Happy first of the month. Hopefully you guys had a great weekend. It was a holiday weekend, so we're starting this week a little later than usual. But it should be a good week. It is NFP, so we will be a little careful, but we also will take some risk since there's going to be a lot more volatility than normal. But the week is just starting, so we're barely kicking off the trading week officially today. So let me just finish setting this up over here, and I think we should be good to go. All right, so this is being set up right here. Let me just get the Zoom link sent out to the premium members. All right. There we go. All right. All right, let me just finish setting up real quick. Let me mute everybody here. All right, I was muted. So we're good right there. Figured out. All right, cool guys. It's 6:19 right now, so we have about 11 minutes till market opens. Obviously, looking at US 30 right here, it's very bullish on the 10-minute, bullish on the 3-minute, also bullish here on the 1-minute. So that's what we'll be looking for when market opens. We just want that bullish confirmation on the fundamental side. We still have 11 minutes, so we do have some time. So let me just let everyone into the room real quick, and then as we get the ball rolling, we will continue on with our analysis here. So let me send out this other link over to you guys. And I think we should be good. All right. Send that over there. Here. All right, looks like we're good to go for the most part. Let me just get this link emailed to everyone as well. And then I think we should be pretty solid for the most part. I'm gonna let this out to you guys. All right, everything looks good to go. So I'm just let the rest of you guys into the room right now. Cool, looks solid. All right, let me just pull up this over here. All right, let's see, everyone's making their way into the room. Morning, C-Suit. Morning, Patricia. Morning, Tam. Morning, Matt. Morning, Adrian. Patricia said, don't forget about news at 10 a.m. Okay, perfect. Let me check that real quick. So yeah, thanks for letting me know, Patricia. I always forget to look at the news, but thankful for you guys to always be here to remind me. So let me just pull that up real quick, and then we can see the news events that are coming up. So today is Tuesday. We do have OPEC all morning. Yeah, pretty much all day. So we'll have to look out for that. Let's see, CAD news just passed. We have US news. Yeah, we have ISM manufacturing PMI at 7 o'clock. So what we'll try to do first is we'll try to get into the breakout entry. And then after the breakout entry, we'll probably hold off for a bit. So it looks like, yeah, that's the main news. And then the Fed's going to be speaking. Fed member Brainerd's going to speak at 11. So we'll probably try to get that breakout entry from 6:37 within the first few minutes. Once we get that, it looks like Fed member Quarles is going to speak at 7 actually. So I think that's all we're going to be taking for today, guys. So after we take that breakout entry, I'll answer questions for you guys, and then I'll try to I'll look for some scalps. But I think for myself, that's probably going to be the only trade that I'm personally going to be taking because obviously I don't want to be risking too much during this point in time because these are going to be really, really touchy announcements that are going to be touched on since the Fed is speaking. It's going to be about the U.S. economy, and I'm already up for this day and for this week. So for this week, on my 2 accounts, I have one where I'm up 3,476, and then on my other account, I'm up 3,176. So I mean, I don't really have to force anything, guys. I'm already doing pretty good for the week so far. That's why I'm not really hesitant to hop into anything. No, I'm not trying to force anything, right? So if I see anything, I'll let you guys know, but I'm probably not going to be trading after the breakout entry. Breakout entry is coming in about 7 minutes. But yeah, thanks for reminding me, Patricia, because there's a lot of news this morning. I didn't realize there was this much news. I know it's NFP, but there's a lot of news otherwise, because we do have NFP on Friday, but there's a lot of other things happening all day today. Well, pretty much all week. There's all day news today. There's all day news tomorrow. The U.S. Ford's total vehicle sales. It's not going to be a big deal, but it's still going to be news. And then again on Thursday, it looks like we have PMI every day almost. And then Friday, of course, NFP. So there's a lot of stuff going on this week. So we'll try to catch as many moves as possible. It's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because there's going to be a lot of volatility, but it's a bad thing because there's going to be a lot of market manipulation. So just keep that in mind. But we'll be looking at some trades, and I'll let you know if I take anything. If I decide not to, then I'll let you know if it's risky or not. So let me just pull up US 30 over here. Like I mentioned before, US 30 is bullish right here on the technical side. It's bullish on the 10-minute because price is above the pivots. The trend meter is green. Same on the 3-minute, price is above the pivots. The trend meter is green. And on the 1-minute, the same exact thing here, right? Trend meter is green. Price is above the pivots. And also looking at every other time at every time frame here, we have a bullish signal, right? We have a bullish momentum signal here on the 10-minute. So our bias is bullish. Same on the 3-minute and same on the 1-minute right here. So once the market opens at 6:30 down here, we just need a confirmation of a strong bullish candle. And then we also need the fundamentals to show bullish move here too as well. Right here, looking at this index, this hasn't changed yet. So this hasn't been updated from last week. But what we're going to be looking for here is for most of these stocks to be green here, because that's going to confirm a bullish confirmation on the fundamental side. You can see right here, it's all black and it says unchanged because the market isn't open yet. Market opens in 5 minutes. Once that happens, we can confirm it. If it's all green, then yeah, we're going to take all the buys from this from here on. Basically from here on until 7, because the news happens at 7, right? We have news coming up within that time. The ISM PMI manufacturing is actually it's going to affect the market a lot. So we're probably not going to trade around that time. And then everything after that is going to be at your own risk, right? Because the Fed member is going to be speaking. Fed member Quarles is speaking at 7. He's probably going to speak for an hour, 2 hours. And then at 11, Brainard's going to speak. And this is medium news. So I guess he's going to be talking about something important regarding the economy. So just keep that in mind. There's just a lot of moving pieces here, guys. And, I just want to remind you guys to be careful and to use proper risk when trading, because, you can make a lot of money taking big risk, but you can also lose a lot of money. Keep that in mind. Even though we do have we have a big win rate here, like our win rate's really high. It doesn't mean that it's guaranteed to hit the next trade, right? So don't put all eggs in one basket. Make sure to spread it along for the week, for the month, for the year, just so that you guys can have enough risk to continue trading. We just closed out May. So looking at the May results over here, for our Forex trades, we had about six wins and 1 loss. It was a slow month for May for a gain of 135 pips. And then for our US 30 trades, we had 51 wins and 2 losses. So you guys can see here, our win rate's very high, but we make sure that we only take trades that we're for sure about. Like when it's too risky, we don't take the trade. In some instances we do when we shouldn't, but we're trying to get better with that there. But overall for the year, we're doing pretty good. So let's kick off June proper, and then we'll wait for market to open in about 3 minutes. So let's see what we got over here. Hey, morning, Kenny. Morning, Nick. Morning, Joey. Morning, Peter. Morning, Falcon. Nice. Falcon started his FTMO today. Here's to a great month. Definitely, Falcon. Nick said 60% short market. So let me just check that real quick. That's perfect. If there's a lot of people short right now, that's perfect because we're looking to be bullish. So I don't care what everyone else is doing. If this is what all the retail traders are doing, that's completely fine. You know, they're obviously not looking at the fundamentals over here where overall the futures contracts are up 254 points. Why would you go short when it's this high, right? There's a lot of people who try to be counter trend traders, which is fine. There's no problem with that. But when the trend's so strong up like this on the technical side and on the fundamental side, I just don't understand why people would sell, you know, US 30. It just doesn't make sense. Because everything like fundamental side is bullish, technical side is bullish as well on like so many different time frames, right? I mean, we could probably go on the higher time frame and it'll still be bullish, but I mean, I'll never understand that, guys. So the market's going to open in 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, this will start to change. We'll have a confirmation at 6:30, probably around 6:31. We'll probably try to take an entry, and then from there, we'll see where it goes. So. All right, ready to kick off this trading week. And if you guys are brand new here, I generally use a mental stop loss. So if you guys are new here and you guys don't understand what we're applying, I would recommend to just hold off on entering any trades and to just rewatch any live stream for the past 3 weeks or maybe up to a year, because I trade live every morning and you can understand what we're doing here. So this is going to move very fast and you have to be able to move fast with it. If you guys don't know what we're doing, then it's probably best that you guys probably hold off and actually understand what we're doing before you try to enter anything that we're taking. So let's see. Morning, Goldie. Morning, Zachary. Morning, Shawn. Morning, everybody. Yeah, Goldie said Dow up 350 points. Crazy, right? It's up pretty high. So we'll be waiting for that. So let me check this out. All right, market's going to open in about 30 seconds. So in about 30 seconds, we'll be watching for a possible entry. And then I'll let you guys know if I enter the trade. So just keep that in mind. There we go. We have a strong bullish candle right here. So we'll see where it goes from this point. Obviously, you know, looking from here, like I mentioned, we have a bullish, our bias here is super bullish, right? It's bullish on the 10-minute, it's bullish on the 3-minute, it's also bullish on the 1 minute right here. But we can see some we might see some fake outs right here, trying to come down, then come back up off the next candle, which is why we're not looking to enter right away. All right, market's about to open in about a minute. There we go. So here we go, open market. See, it's doing exactly what I mentioned, right? It's going to come down a little bit and then it's probably going to come back up. We just got to wait where the fundamentals are going to point things. So looking at this right here, very bullish, right? So our bias right here looks pretty bullish on both ends. Right here, you can see it's coming down to fake people out, and then it's probably going to come all the way back up. So once this candle closes, if it closes as a strong bullish candle, we'll enter for a buy. If it closes red, we're going to wait for it to close bullish as a strong bullish candle in order for us to take that entry. So no rush, guys. Just be patient and then wait for it. You don't want to get caught in this fake out here. So looking over here, very bullish, obviously, as you guys can see, the fundamentals are confirming our bullish bias right here. So looking at this here, we have about 10 seconds left on this candle. If this closes right here, I'm going to take it. It has to close as a green candle. If it doesn't, I'm going to wait for the next one. All right, so I'm already in the trade right here. I'm just going to put some lines here for my mental stop loss. There's going to be some areas where I'm willing to hold on to. So the farthest I'll go is about 1,000 pips. So this is the farthest I'll hold on to. 1,000 pips down here. Scrolling up to the top over here, let's fix this right here. So I usually mark up the halfway mark over here for 250 pips right here. So basically right here, if price comes up to this point and then it comes back down, then I close out manually. And then I probably just double dip for another entry a little later. But yeah, looking at this right here. So basically over here, what I would do is I would wait for it to come up. And then if it comes back down, then I manually close it out and profit. And then as it comes back up, I just re-enter the trade. And then I finish off the move. So this is fine right here. Even though price is kind of pulling down a little bit, this is fine to me because looking at the fundamentals over here, it's all green. So our bias here is obviously there's going to be a lot of manipulation on market open. Obviously, this is straight green, so there's no reason for it to come down. This is just market manipulation coming down because they're trying to basically trick people into entering the sell here. Because obviously you can see right here, a lot of retail traders are short. I mean, it makes no sense for you to be short right now, right? 58% of retail traders are short, but looking at the fundamentals here, it's all green. Literally, this is indicating that the fundamentals are going to lead the way for a bullish move. The technicals over here as well, they're all bullish, right? It's bullish on the 10-minute, it's bullish on the 3-minute, it's bullish on the 1-minute. It's just there's always going to be market manipulation. So just keep that in mind, guys. I'm not too worried about this pullback right here, because what I see happening is it's probably going to come back a little bit, and then all of a sudden it's just going to slingshot all the way up. So this is what I mean about using proper risk, so that you guys can handle this drawdown if the drawdown does happen. Which, I mean, it's not always going to be a smooth move up. But just looking at everything here, I'm not too worried about this pullback right here, because just looking at the fundamental side, it's going to have to come up. There's no reason for it to go down, right? There's literally no reason. There's about 29 of the 30 stocks in the Dow index that are all green. There's one stock that's red, and it's only red about 2 points. So there's no reason for it to be to be going down at all, right? It's just they're trying to lure some sellers in. It's just what happens, right? They lure sellers in, they let people enter into the sell because they're like, oh, it's going to drop. And then all of a sudden it reverses all the way up because the fundamentals are going to be pulling it. So not to worry about this right here. Still holding on to it. And then I'm going to see where it plays out from this point over here. I might even open on my other account, because I have another account that I trade for my parents. I have like another account, because I have 2 accounts that are mine, and it's connected to another account, and that's where I take my main trades. And then sometimes if it drops like way down here, I'll just enter another one on the other account, because that account doesn't have any risk on it yet. But yeah, you guys can see right here, strong bullish candle. It's going to move around back and forth, so just don't worry too much about it. You just got to hold on, right? The thing is, everything's pointing to the upside, so that's why I'm not too worried about it, because look at the fundamentals over here. It's still straight green. If it was like half red, half green, then yeah, I'd start to be a little worried, but it's not. It's all green here. Looking at the Dow index right here, Dow index is up 277 points for the day. So it's up pretty high. Obviously, it had to retrace down a little bit. It doesn't always retrace, but today it did retrace down a little bit, which is completely fine. So it's going to retrace a bit, and then I'm expecting it to swing all the way back up. So I'm not too worried about this over here. Nice. Lucas actually got a better entry from there. Yeah, Lucas did a watch for the 645 candle. I can see that. Usually the 5-minute and 10-minute candle will start to shift it the other way, but we'll just have to wait and see where it goes from here. Because obviously the technical side over here, it might just reject off the pivot right here. I think what might happen is it'll reject off the pivot, or if it doesn't reject off this pivot, it'll probably reject off this pivot down here, and then it'll bounce all the way up. It's just about surviving the move, right? So looking at the 3-minute here, same situation. I'm not going to bother with the technicals too much, because the technicals, this is kind of what tricks people into hopping out of a trade early, right? Because people see this move right here and they start to freak out. They're like, damn, I'm starting to drop, I should hop out. But the fundamental side over here is still pointing upwards. So I'm not too worried about it yet. Well, if it starts to shift the other way, then yeah, I'll start to be a little worried. If it does come down to this point though, I might, I'll probably let it drop a little further down. But if it drops like too far down, like way down here, then yeah, I'll pull out, and then I'll probably, I'll hop back in as it swings back up. But the thing is, I don't want to hop out right here and then it starts to skyrocket all the way up, right? That's typically what happens here. So I'll be holding on. And then if I see this drop a little bit, I mean, we just came back from a holiday weekend, so this is expected. It's there's a lot of volatility since the market wasn't open all yesterday. Well, I mean, it technically was open, the futures market, but not the stock market. So we're going to see this here. What might happen here is it might come down, reject off this area around this area here, because they're luring in sellers like it did it was like all last week, last Thursday, last Friday. It might come down, reject off this area, come back up, come back down, reject off the area again, maybe 2 or 3 times. And then on the 3rd or 4th time, it's just going to shoot all the way up. right? Which happens all the time. So I'm not really too worried about it. I'm just going to be waiting for it. And then if it comes down to this point, like too far down, like around this area over here, then I'll probably pull out and I'll hop back in a little later. Down this area down here. So as you guys can see, it's just a lot of market manipulation happening right now as it swings, you know, back and forth from this area here. Yeah, this is crazy ass drop right here. This drop is pretty heavy. So I'm still in the position right here. I'm going to wait for it. If it comes down to here, I'll probably pull out a bit and then I'll probably hop back in as it swings back up because I wasn't expecting it to drop this far down. So I'm still watching it as it goes. See where it goes from here. Still watching it. All right, I'm gonna see where it swings from here. Obviously you can see it, a big green candle right here, right? So I'll keep watching. And I'm gonna see where it goes from here. This is weird how the market's moving this morning. It's all green right here, but it's still coming down further. So I'm still watching it right here. Yeah, this thing is dropping pretty heavy. All right, it's getting way past my risk point. So I'm probably gonna pull out, just take this loss from here and I'll probably swing back up. I'll catch it as it comes back up. Yeah, I'm just gonna pull out from here. Yeah, that's crazy. What the fuck is going on here? The market is so green right here, but it's still coming down super heavy. So I'm gonna hop back in as it swings back up, but obviously right here, you can see that's crazy. It looks like, so right here, the Dow came up 300 points and then it came all the way back down. So that's really weird for it to drop that heavy, but I'm going to keep watching. I'm going to hop back in I'm going to take the loss right there. Yeah, that's crazy, dude. Like it dropped all the way down, but obviously you can see right here, the market is straight green. So it's still up like how many points? It's still up 174 points, but for whatever reason, the technical side is coming all the way down. Wow, what the fuck is this, dude? That's crazy. That's a big drop. Like normally it'll come down and it'll swing back up, but right here, I don't know, honestly, it doesn't make sense to me. Because look at the fundamental side over here. This is what leads the US 30. US 30 is the Dow 30. So looking at this here, it's all green and there's barely anything red right here. This is down 1, 2, 3, 4, only 4 points. So it's up right now, 174 points right here. But on the technical side, it's still pushing down like this pretty heavy. Let's see, Jeff said, and Key over here, she took NASDAQ and she made a lot off that. So let me see this right here. Let's see. Jeff said infrastructure bill, sell the news event. Damn, that news event like really fucked it up. That's crazy how much it dropped. Is the news event happening right now? It's 640. Yeah, that's weird. Well, I mean, there was CAD PMI at 630, but there was no US news until 645. But I could still see this coming all the way back up because the fundamental side is still really green. So it's okay. I took a loss off that. I took a pretty fat loss off that actually, because I took a normal lot size. But I did have a win from yesterday. So it's not really, I mean, I did lose all the profits, but it softened the loss a little bit there. I'll still be waiting for it to swing back up though. I think eventually it's going to come back up from, and that's a crazy drop right there from the, let's see, Nick said news. Do you know if there's any other news that happened right now, Nick? Because just looking at the fundamental side, it's still pretty green to me. Like not enough for it to drop. Shit, I don't know how many points it dropped from. Let me see this. This is a big candle right here. Let's see this right here. Yeah, this thing dropped like almost 2,000 pips. So 200 points right there. It's about 2,000 pips. That's a big drop for it to, yeah, I can see that too, Yvonne. So Yvonne said it looks like a technical correction because the market went up so high last night. So yeah, just looking at this over here. Yeah, Iman said, so probably just manipulation. I think because I don't see any news. I don't see any news either. So it's really unusual for it to drop like that because looking at the Dow 30 index right here, it's all green still. Like Boeing by itself could outweigh all of these red stocks right here. Boeing's up 7 points, and the red stocks here: Walmart, Nike, Merck and Co., Salesforce, United Health, Johnson & Johnson, Home Depot are not really that red. So we'll see as it comes back up. If it swings back up to this direction, then I'll just hop back in for another entry. But I did take a loss off that trade right there. Yeah, that's a crazy drop right there. Usually it doesn't drop this much. You guys can see, obviously, each candle here doesn't really drop that much, right? This was on Friday. So like looking at the other days over here, every time the market opens right here, it only opens about, let's see, it only moves about 300 pips, 300, 400, 500 pips, somewhere around there. This right here opened, how many pips? It opened well over 1,600 pips, 1,600 pip drop on market open, but the entire stock index is green over here. It's weird. So I'm going to wait for it. I'm going to see where it goes from this point, and then we'll see if it ends up swinging back up from this point here. Now, I wasn't expecting this huge drop right here. See this right here. Try to catch it as it swings back up if we can. The problem with this is that the other news events are coming up shortly. So we're not going to bother with the 645 news right here. The final manufacturing PMI is probably not going to affect it that much. It shows that it's going to be the same, 61.5, but the ISM manufacturing is going to be different slightly. It's supposed to be bad news. So as you guys can see right here, it's starting to wake off the bottom. This might be the low where it swings up from. So I'll be watching it, possibly enter it. Yeah, looks like the bottom was established down here. So we'll see where it goes from here because the fundamental side still shows a bullish move. So I'm not sure if anyone's still holding it. I'm out of it because I took a normal lot size for that. But yeah, just looking at the index over here, it's still pretty green right there. The entire index is still up 158 points for the day. It's up 272 points for the monthly contract. And just looking at CNBC right here, it said that it propped up about 300 points as June begins. And S&P's near the record high. So let's hit a deflation gauge right here. All right. So yeah, everything here is still pretty green. And then we'll see how it swings up from here, if it does swing up from here. Because eventually I do see it swinging up. It's just a matter of time before the technical side follows the fundamental side. Yeah, I'll be waiting for it right there. Let's see. Mercedes says at a daily resistance. So let me pull up the other time frame over here. Ms. AB said, if you don't close, it's not a loss, right? Yeah, no, I had to close out mine because I didn't want to reach my daily loss. That's the main thing for my FTMO account. If I didn't have the daily loss requirement, I would have just held on because eventually I think it's going to swing back up. It's just a matter of time because it needs to follow with the fundamental side over here. Just looking at the fundamentals, it's still pretty green to me. Yeah, so it's down. I mean, it's starting to balance out a little bit, but it's still up well over 100 points right here. So we just got to wait to see how it moves because there's going to be news coming up shortly. The news right now at 6:45. Let's see what the final manufacturing PMI was. So the news for the US right here for the final manufacturing PMI was actually positive. They're expecting it to be 61.5. It's actually 62.1. So obviously you can see right there, see this big green candle? It's starting to correct back up to where it was supposed to go. We'll see where it goes from here. Let's see, Ed took some trades here. Yeah, Ed took it both ways. He took a buy and then he took the sell. Nice. Yeah, nice work, Ed. Yeah, so obviously looking at this right here, you can see it's starting to shift up, right? It's going up to where it was supposed to go. So we'll see where it goes from here. Unfortunately, we caught the trade when a lot of market manipulation is going on. So we'll see where it goes from here, and then we'll just follow through with it. I'm probably not going to re-enter until it comes a bit higher because it's just too low for me to enter right now. And then I think my risk I'm pretty close to, yeah, my risk is pretty high because I only made about 3,000 last night. So technically my drawdown would be about 3,000 if I wanted to take it, but I don't know if I want to risk it just yet. Let me just check real quick. Yeah, I made about 3,400 last night. So let's see how much drawdown. I can take about 300 pips. So my drawdown could be, so if I was to enter right here, my max drawdown before I would have to pull out and I reach my daily loss limit would be around right here, 300 pips. So I'm not going to take it yet. I need a little more space. There's just not enough space from here, or I need some sort of confirmation of that bullish move upwards. Because looking at the down decks over here, it's still pretty green. So if it's still pretty green, I think it's going to swing up. It's just they just lured in a bunch of sellers right here. So looking at the IG sentiment right here, it's 57% of people short. Looks like a lot of people got pulled out. I don't know why people pulled out of this. Well, I mean, at that point, they probably realized that price was going to swing back after a big drop like that. So we'll see where it goes from here. Givon said, I thought you said we were going to stop taking the breakout on the first candle. We didn't take the first candle, Givon. We took the second one. It's the same strategy I've been applying for like the past year, 2 years now. It's the same thing. I think you're still kind of confused on how the breakout entry works. We're on the 1 minute here. So we didn't take the opening candle. Opening candle was right here. We took the next one after it, 631. So still waiting for this to swing back up. If it swings back up to this area right here, this is where I would take it because I would wait for this to happen. I would wait for it to swing up, come back for a little retracement, and then ride its way back up. Because it's going to have to correct back up at some point. It's only 6:49 right now. The Fed is going to speak in about 10 minutes, I believe. Let me check real quick. Yeah, so the ISM manufacturing PMI is going to come out at 7. That'll probably spike price up. And then Fed member Quarles is going to speak at 7 as well. So this is going to affect the market one way or another. And we'll see where it goes from there. But I'm probably not going to trade around that time, around 7. So if the correction doesn't happen until, if it hits like 7:30, correction hasn't happened by 7:30, I'm probably not going to trade for the rest of this day because I don't want to hit my max daily loss. I have about a 300 pip risk right now, so I could still lose or I have a 3,000 pip risk right now to cover my daily loss. So I have about this, so I'll just mark it up for you guys. This is how much space I have before I have to pull out of any trade. So I got to be really specific with what I want to take, because if I enter a trade right here, this is how much risk that I have. If it reaches this point, I got to pull out. And in some instances, this is probably just to hold off and not risk it. So if it comes over here, this is fine because I could enter a buy around this area. And then my stop loss would be like way below this area right here. And then from this point, this is where, this is where I could probably make my move to recover. Because if it swings all the way back up from this point here, then I'll just recover all those losses. But my max loss would be around this area right here for the day, because I can't hit the daily loss, right? That's the main thing here. And that's why it's important that you guys calculate your risk properly. Yeah, exactly. CT, that's exactly what I was thinking too. Either I lower my lot size, I'll probably half my lot size, and I could go for a bigger move for 600 pips instead of the 300 pip move right here. So that might be the move actually. But like I mentioned, there's a lot of news happening this morning. So it could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing. Who knows? So we'll have to wait and see where it goes from there. But yeah, it's 6:51 right now. News is coming in about 9 minutes. 9 minutes, the ISM manufacturing PMI is going to come out. It's supposed to be negative. So that's actually good for us, because if it's if they're predicting negative, then it's technically probably going to be bullish. So it'll probably show negative, but then it's going to shoot up the opposite way. Because generally when I used to trade news, I would do the opposite of what was predicted. And it usually worked out pretty nice for me. So like right here, it was positive news, but it did the opposite, came down. If this is going to be positive news, then this might be positive or negative news. It'll probably go the opposite of what's anticipated. So we'll just wait and see where it goes from here. I'll see on this live session and we'll keep following through with this. But, like I mentioned, once the news happens, I'm probably going to hold off because I'd rather not lose my FTMO account and then make it back tomorrow than have to risk it and get caught in some more manipulation. But it's fine. We'll wait and see where it happens from here. It's 6:52 right now. So we do have a couple of minutes coming up from the news, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But yeah, just giving you guys a demonstration of like, what's my max risk here if I end up taking my normal lot size. If I take a half lot size, and I could lose double that right here before I have to cut out. But obviously, I want to take a normal lot size. But if it becomes a case where I have to lower the lot size, that's completely fine. But if I do see a bullish move from here, I'll just hop into the buy. I'll probably just ride the wave, honestly, because just looking at the fundamentals over here, it's still pretty green. Overall, so it's still up 100 points. If you guys have been following me, if it's up 100 points, that's generally going to be a good sign for me to it's just pulling back, retracing, and then from that point I'll probably swing all the way back up, because 100 points is still up pretty high. If it wanted to come back down, it'd be below 100 points already. But we'll see where it goes from here. And Nick said news in 7 minutes. So yeah, we have the PMI in 7 minutes. And then the Fed's going to speak around that time too. So the Fed usually says stuff that's beneficial for the US economy. So with that said, it'll probably prop it up even higher and swing it back to where it's supposed to go. So we'll keep watching for this over here. And then from that point, we will we'll decide whether we want to re-enter the trade or not. Man, what a shitty way to start the fucking trading week, right? I started the week well because I did take trades yesterday. So I did make profit over here last night. And that's why I have extra risk. So like I was saying, I have 300 more pips because I closed out over here where I lost what I normally would lose. But my other trades from last night, I actually made about 3,476, and then my other account, 3,176. So from here, I still have this much to lose. I've already lost what I'm willing to lose for the day. But if I want to just throw away everything else that I made from last night, I could still do that if I want to hop back into the trade, because I do think it's going to come back up. We just got caught into market manipulation, which is typical. It is the first of the month, and it's also after a holiday weekend. So this happens sometimes, guys. It's normal in the market for this to happen during a holiday week and also on the first of the month. And you guys can go back to set yourself. You can go back to, May 1st. You can go back to February 1st. You can go back to March 1st, January 1st, and you can see how the first candle generally moves when the market reopens. It usually moves kind of crazy. It's usually in a good way or a bad way. Obviously, this way was a bad way. But it happens. If you manage your risk properly, it's completely fine. That's why I'm not really stressing about this loss here, because I'm still I was still able to soften this loss with my wins yesterday, and I still have this much risk available to me if I decide to hop back in. So let's see. I'm going to wait until the news happens. So the news is going to happen in about 5 minutes. Once the news confirms it, it'll push price in one direction or the other. And yeah, it's also NFP week. So yeah, like Dion and C-Suk mentioned, it's also NFP week. So there's a lot of things this week that cause the market to move like this, right? Market was closed for the holiday yesterday. It is the first of the month. It is NFP week. So there's a ton of things going on, and there's a lot of news this morning as well. Looking at the calendar right here, and I'm not using this to give you guys an excuse for like why we ended up taking that loss. I'm just showing you guys that there's a lot of factors here that factor in. It's not as simple as just trading technicals, right? We look at the fundamental side. We also look at the news side. We also look at the technical side here as well for that confirmation. All the confirmation showed for a bullish move. That's why we took the bullish trade there. But unfortunately, when there's a lot of stuff like this going on, it doesn't always go in the direction that we anticipate. So just keep that in mind. The news is coming up in about 4 minutes, so I'm not going to enter any trades yet. But like I mentioned, I want price to reach around this area over here. Basically, what I'm looking for is I'm waiting for price to go back above the pivots over here. Once it comes above the pivots, then I'll feel a little more comfortable about entering a position right there. But yeah, looking at the 10-minute over here, the 10-minute is probably time frame we should be focused on, because what I'm looking for here is I'm probably looking for it to come up here, possibly come back down, and then back up like that. That's probably what I'll be looking for if I decide to re-enter. So we do have news coming up in about 3 minutes. In the next 3 minutes, we'll, it'll give us a hint if price is going to correct back up, or if it's just going to keep getting manipulated back downwards. Because it just doesn't make sense for it to come down like this when the Dow's straight green. Yeah, the index is up 141 points still for the day. Looking at the actual stocks over here, it's still pretty green overall. So just keep that in mind. Goldman Sachs is up 6 points, Boeing's up 6 points, Chevron's up 2 points, Caterpillar's up 2 points, Walt Disney's up 2 points, American Express is up 2 points, JP Morgan's up 2 points, et cetera, et cetera, right? It outweighs the red stocks over here. Cisco's down not even a point, Apple's down not even a point. None of these are down a point. The only ones that are down are Salesforce, United Health, and Johnson & Johnson, then Home Depot and Nike after it, but they're slightly in the red. They're not very green like how the Goldman Sachs is here in Boeing. So just keep that in mind. But you can see right here on the 10-minute, it started to shift up, right? The bias here on the 10-minute is still somewhat bullish because the trend meter is green right here, indicating an overall trend upwards. It's just a matter of time for it to correct back up. So let's see. So we got this coming up right here. I'll give this to you, Dave. Dave's asking for the link for the CNBC. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, so logically saying that there's a gap on the technical side. 34480. Oh yeah, it's probably broker side. Logically, that happens sometimes. If your broker isn't like up to date with the data, it causes a gap, but there's no real gap there because the market doesn't close. It's just your broker data kind of like there was slippage there where the market kind of just froze up for a bit on your end. But looking over here on our charts, there's no gap over here on ours. So you can see that it was actually a full move when that happened. But obviously you guys can see right here, it might have bottomed out already. And then it's starting to shift up from this point to where it's supposed to go. So like I mentioned before, guys, market manipulation happens, it's alive and well. It happens. Sometimes it happens to our benefit. Sometimes it happens to our demise. But like I mentioned, I think it's going to come back up because looking at the fundamentals over here, it's still pretty green. If these started to turn red, then yeah, it'd start to shift it in the other way. But looking at this here, it's still above 100 points. It's actually 155 points now. So this still shows me that the fundamentals are indicating a bullish move here. It's just we got the short end of the stick, obviously. See how it's swinging back up right now? There we go. That big bullish move. It's starting to correct back up to where it was originally at. But I'm not going to hop in yet. I'm still not ready for it because we do have the news coming up right now. Well, I mean, the news is right now. So let's see. All right, PMI news isn't out yet. It's about to be released. All right, so PMI was also positive as bullish right here. So it was more than they expected. But we'll see where it goes from here. I mean, obviously you can see from the candles right here, they're not smooth candles at all, but it did bottom out around this area. So let's see. So I'll give it another 30 minutes. If it doesn't swing up in the next 30 minutes, then I'm probably just going to sit out the day. I'm just going to take the loss with my win from last night and then factoring today's loss. I technically lost less than I should have because I just softened the loss, but I still had to take a loss today. Just keep that in mind. So we're going to document this as a losing day for the breakout entry, obviously. If I do take some more, then we'll try to factor it in as we swing back up. But if I don't hop back into the trade, then I'm probably going to hold off. But yeah, looking at this here, you can see the bullish move right there, right? It's exactly what we thought would happen. We thought it was a round out around this bottom area, and then it was going to swing back up, which is basically what's happening right here. But the problem with my account is that I have, I'm not willing to risk this much, I'd rather just save it for tomorrow, especially if there's news all morning. So right here, well, I'll stay online and I'll answer questions and I'll follow stuff with you. But I think for my own account, I'm probably just gonna eat the loss today, even though I think it's gonna swing back up. It's unfortunate, but I'm just getting too close to the daily loss, so I don't want to risk my FTMO from just to recover from this loss right here, right? And that's when you guys start to get greedy. That's how a lot of people start to blow their accounts, or how they lose their FTMOs, is because they get too greedy. For me, it's whatever. It's, we just had a bad day today, and I'll bounce back tomorrow. So if I see that I'm really convinced it's going to go up, then I'll hop back in to recover these losses. If not, I'm just going to eat the loss. You guys can probably take the wins there to recover your losses. But me personally, there's just too much happening today that will cause price to do some weird stuff with the news this morning, because the Fed member Quarles is speaking right now. It's about to be 7. And then at 11, Fed member Brainerd's going to speak as well. So we'll keep watching it. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and put some questions in the chat, or anything that you guys have questions about. If you guys have questions about the strategy or questions about any of the strategies at all, I can explain it to you, because I'm not really looking to trade right now. Unless I see something that looks really good, I'll hop in. But right now the market doesn't look good to me. It's just too risky. Because right here, look, you can see it bottomed out, but what could happen here is it can still come back down, get manipulated for a double bottom retest, and then I'll just shoot back up again right there, right? And like I mentioned over here, I don't have much risk to take. I only have 300 pips. So the thing is, I don't want to risk blowing or not blowing, but losing my account just to to recoup the losses, when I should just wait for a better day to trade. Short team. So on the last trade, I lost about like 8 to 9%, because I closed out before I got to that. Well, probably like 7 to 8%, because I had some extra risk. So I lost about 7 to 8% off that last trade. And then I have the extra wins from yesterday. So I technically was able to lose an extra 3% on top of that. So for today, I could have lost, in order to reach my daily max loss, I could have lost almost 14%, but I only lost about like 7 or 8% off that last trade right here. So it's not that bad. I'm still within my daily max risk, but I don't want to risk losing the entire thing trying to recoup my losses right here, right? Especially when the market's uncertain. If the market was certain, and say there was no more news this morning, so say this happened where there was no news this morning, that the Fed members weren't speaking, then at that point over there, I would be willing to take the risk. But right now the Fed members are speaking, so things can still go a different direction, even though you think it's going to go one direction or the other. So yeah, for this right here, I lost about 7%. I try to keep it within means, because I don't want to reach that 10%. Obviously, I want to be far from the 10%. And I also had some cushion from yesterday. So that's why I wasn't too worried. I was like, oh, if it reaches this point, I'll just close out and then I'll re-enter. But at this point, I don't want to re-enter, because there's just too much stuff going on in the news. So we'll see where it goes from here. And then we'll just, we'll go from there. But yeah, looking at this right here on the 10-minute, I probably wouldn't want to re-enter this until it swings back up, which will probably happen. But we'll see where it goes right here. See, David said, anyone else having trouble getting connections to FTMO on MT4? I don't know if you guys heard my MT4. It was like going in and out. So I didn't have a problem getting connection, but it did go in and out for a second there, David. All right, so the news right here is everything else was negative though. So ISM manufacturing prices was negative. Construction spending was negative. ISM PMI was positive. And then now the Fed members are going to be speaking. I don't know if they have the Fed members over here. Trying to see if they posted the YouTube link. Sometimes they do on CNBC. Let's see, Biden, he spoke about 2 hours ago, revealed to unveil a new effort. Raise health gap. Yeah, I don't really see much here regarding that stuff, but looking at the Dow index right here, it's still up 160 points. So obviously you can see right here, it's still pretty bullish overall. So I still think it's going to swing up. It's just a matter of time. So we'll have to wait and see where it goes from here. But like I mentioned, guys, if you guys have questions, I can answer your questions here. Because I think I'm going to be done for the day. I'm going to eat that loss, and then I'm just going to recoup it tomorrow. Let me check the news. There's a lot of news tomorrow too as well, though. So let's see. Tomorrow we have actually tomorrow is a better day to trade. There's not as much news. I mean, the Fed members are speaking at 11. But that's fine because I could probably trade. We could take the breakout entry at 6:30, and then we can just keep scalping it up. So I could probably make all like this loss right here. This loss that we took off this breakout, I could make it all back tomorrow. So I'm not gonna. I think I'm done trading for the day with US 30. I'll be looking for some Forex trades, but the market still is pretty slow for Forex, so there really isn't much for us to take. But looking at tomorrow, it looks like a pretty open day. We have 5:30 CAD news, building permits. It's light news, not really going to affect the market. And then we have Ward's total vehicle sales, which is not a big deal either. It's just going to indicate vehicle sales, but it's not really going to affect the stock. I mean, if depending on what stock, those stocks aren't even in the Dow index. Do we have any car stocks here? No. Yeah, there's no car stocks here in the Dow index anyway. So that news tomorrow is not really going to affect it very much. Tesla's not in here, GM's not in here, Ford's not in here. None of that stuff's in here. So it's not really going to affect the market. So I think tomorrow would be a better day for us to recoup those losses. Just because there's a lot of news right now. Fed members speaking right now, and then again, they're going to speak at 11. So I think it's going to be risky for this to bounce back from that point. So let me see. Gene Vaughn's asking, at TMO challenge, we have 10 days to make 10%. How does the verification process work? It's the same thing. You just have to make less, you have to make half that for your profit target, Gene Vaughn. So instead of making 10%, you just have to make 5% on your verification. But yeah, guys, like I mentioned, this is why it's important that you guys use proper risk. So like for me, I already know what my breaking points are. I know where I'm supposed to pull out of my trade. And I know where I'm supposed to hop back in. So for today, like I mentioned, if price was going to swing back up here by 7:30, I'd hop back in because I'd try to recover my losses. But with the news today, there's just too much stuff going on. The Fed member speaking right now, Quarles, for the next hour or so. So he'll probably speak from like 7 until 8 or 9. And then again, like a few hours later, Fed member Brainard's going to speak. So there's just really no point in us really risking it right now. If I do see some entries here, then I'll call them for you, but I'm not going to be taking any more myself because obviously I've already kind of pressed my limit for the day. I'm down about 7% for the day, which is not that bad because we have a 10% max risk for the oh wait, sorry, I'm tripping. Wait, sorry, I didn't lose 7%. I lost the max loss is 5. The daily loss is 5%, I believe, right? Sorry, I got my numbers wrong. So let me just check this real quick. Guys, I'm tripping. Okay, yeah, sorry, yeah. Short seed. When you asked earlier about how much percentage loss did I make off this trade, it wasn't 10%. Sorry, that's the max loss. The daily loss is 5%. So I only lost about 3% off this trade. So I lost about 3% off this trade, and then I had another 3% on top of that to risk. So looking at this right here, I took a 10. So usually for my trade here, I take a 10 lot, right? So I take a 10 lot, and this would be 1,000 pips right here. So this would be actually no. Sorry, I'm getting all the numbers mixed up. This risk right here, I'm only risking 5%. This entire loss right here is going to be 5% for me because I'm on a 200K account. So this right here is 5% risk. I close out like slightly around this area because, I felt that I was getting close to my max loss. So like at that point right there, I closed out, and then I had a 3,000 pip win from last night. So I had an extra 3% risk available. So I technically could have lost about 8% for the day, but I only lost about 3 or 4% because I closed out right here. And then I pretty much held that risk over so that I could re-enter the trade and then just recoup those losses, right? But right now, obviously, with how the market's moving, I'm not trying to recoup it at this point because it's just going to keep bouncing around. Looks like it's doing exactly what I mentioned earlier. It came up, came back down. It's retesting the structure again right here, or not the structure, but the low. And then it's probably going to swing back up at this point. Looking at the index over here, still pretty bullish overall. But with the news happening, it's not really worth the risk. I'm not going to risk it. So Gene Vaughn said, do I still have to beat 5%? You still have to beat the 5% within 10 days. You don't have 10 days. You have 60 days for the verification, Gene Vaughn. Like you have to have 10 trading days, but you have 60 days total to pass the verification. You have 30 days for the challenge, and then you have 60 days for the verification. So you don't have to do it within 10 days. 10 days is just the minimum trading days that you have. Zephyr said, hi, Shawn, for the Dow chart on the CNBCUs. Are those numbers for change actually the change from last market close? It's from market open, Zephyr. So from 6:30. So this is all from this morning. This resets every day. That's why in the beginning of the session, it says unchanged and it's all black because there's no change, right? Because the market's closed. But when the market opens, this is a change from this morning. So yeah, if you, so there's two different charts. If you look at the futures chart over here, Zephyr, this is going to be for the month because this is the actual futures, the futures contract for, June 21 right here. This is different. So this over here is going to be for the day. So you can see this is from the last 10 a.m. Eastern time. So that's about 6 a.m. My time here when market open. So looking at this right here, this chart right here is going to be just for today. If you look at the futures chart over here, this is going to be for the actual contract. So this is going to be for the month, but this would be for the day. Yeah, no problem, Zephyr. I know it's kind of a confusion. It's confusing because if you look at this chart on market close, it doesn't update because it shows you the data from the previous day. But when you watch it from market open, it updates for you there. All right. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to ask. I'm not going to enter any more trades right now. See this right here? This is exactly why I wouldn't want to enter the trade because I would have risked losing my FTMO account if I try to trade during this point. This is what I mean about trading smart, guys. When there's news happening, it's best for you to just hold off the market because it doesn't matter. Even though the fundamentals here are straight green, the market's still going to do what it wants to do, right? If they want to push price down, they'll push price down. But I could probably expect from now until market close, it's going to shift back up. So just keep that in mind. If you guys are looking to re-enter the trade, just be careful because there's a lot of news this morning. The Fed is speaking right now. They're going to speak again in a couple hours. So all morning they're going to be speaking. But we could probably see a shift up midday through the market. But yeah, this is a big drop over here, which is really unusual. Looks like the market's still being manipulated because there's news going on right now. And this is why I decided to hold off on entering. So it's cool. I'm not going to trade anymore today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until tomorrow, and then I'm going to go and what I'm going to do from this point is I'm going to wait until tomorrow because there's not much news tomorrow. Like literally this news is irrelevant. So we're going to ignore this top news right here, building permits for CAD. And then we'll ignore this right here. The only thing that we'll be looking for is going to be the Fed speaking at 11. So these are going to be the only important things for us here. But we'll have from 6:30 till 11. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 5 hours to scalp and to take our breakout entry tomorrow where we can easily make back what we lost today. So what we lost today, we'll make it back tomorrow. It's not a big deal. But yeah, my recommendation is that you guys hold off on entering any trades right now because the Fed is speaking. And with the Fed speaking, they can still push price up or down. Like, I don't know what they're talking about right now because I don't have the link to their discussion. But yeah, Fed Quarles is speaking. So they're talking about the US economy right now. And it's probably just spiking price up and down. So looking at this over here, it's still overall green, but it's starting to come down a little bit. It's starting to balance out. So it looks like US 30 might start to flatline for a bit, and then it'll move up or down probably in the next couple hours or so once the Fed is done speaking. Justin's asking if a red K2 indicator comes out, is that a valid sell on the 3-minute? So technically it could be a sell, Justin. So let me just delete all this stuff right here. So Justin's asking about the 3-minute chart, if this would be a valid sell right here. Yes, like this for sure would be a valid sell right here. But I personally wouldn't take it because the fundamental side still shows a bullish move. This actually would have hit TP already on the 3-minute, Justin. So yeah, looking at this right here, if you guys are wondering what Justin's talking about, he's talking about the 3-minute scalp entry. So looking at this right here, this is a K2 US 33-minute pivot scalp strategy. So for one, you just want to confirm a valid K2 momentum signal. 2A, confirm signal is breaking and closing past K2 pivots 3 and 4. 2B, confirm signal is above pivots for a buy or below for a sell. And after that, you could enter on the open of the following candle. And lastly, TP, stop loss, 250 pips, 250, 500 pips. So looking at this right here, this is what Justin's referring to, because Justin's asking if the K2 indicator comes out, valid sell in the 3-minute, would it be valid? Yeah, it would be valid right here. It was actually valid up here as well. The reason why we wouldn't have taken this though was because of the bias on the fundamental side. Like even if I saw this right here, I probably wouldn't take it either. But looking at this here, you can see how the strategy works, right? So basically right here, you want to confirm a valid K2 momentum signal. Looking at this right here, we had a valid sell signal. And then for 2A, you want to confirm that it's breaking, closing past the pivots. Right here, it's not breaking, closing. So this doesn't apply. For 2B, you want to confirm the signal is above or below for a buy or a sell. Right here, it's below the pivot. So you take a sell, you enter on the open of the falling candle, which would be right here. And then your TP set at 250 pips, which is 25 down here, 25 points. And then 500 pips stop loss right here. If you were to take this trade, obviously full TP right there, right? Again, same situation over here. If you wanted to apply the same strategy off this, this would be a 2A entry, right? So right here, confirm a valid K2 momentum signal. Right here is a valid sell signal. It's indicating a momentum swing downwards. For 2A, you want to confirm the signal is breaking, closing past K2 pivots 3 and 4 right here. This candle is breaking past these 2 pivots. So with that said, you can enter a sell right there. And then you'd set your TP stop loss to 250 pips for TP, 500 pips for stop loss. You let it run. Obviously full TP right there, right? So I'm just showing you guys what Justin's asking for if you guys are curious. Again, same situation over here. It doesn't matter if it's a buy or a sell. Again, over here for this green candle, same situation, right? There's a whole bunch of sells right here. I mean, buys actually that were available. So looking at this, valid K2 momentum signal, there's a valid buy signal right there. 2A, it's not breaking closing, so we skip this. 2B, we confirm it's above for a buy. With that said, you enter a long position right there. TP stop loss is 25 pips. Stop loss is 500 pips. I don't know if this would hit. We probably wouldn't have taken this because this is on market open. So we would have skipped this right here, but it still would have hit TP right there, right? So this just goes to show that, you know, even if there's stuff happening in the market, it would still play out. And this would hit right here too. So another win right there. Another one right there. And these are actually the trades that I took, not these right here, but I took the ones from last night. Basically the same thing. So again, right there, full TP. Again, right there, full TP. Again, right here, full TP. These are actually the ones I took. So I took this one right here. I took, I think, this trade, and I also took this trade right here. And I doubled up on actually, I took this one, and then I took this one right here, and then I took this one right here. So I took a couple trades last night. Those are the 3 wins that I had right here. So obviously you can see my 3 wins for a buy because I was applying this strategy on the 3-minute. So I took this one here, full TP. I took this one. Actually, I took this one right here. So I took this one right here, this one right here, and then this last one over here for full TP. I didn't ride them to full TP. Some of them I entered late, and then some of them I entered early. So that's why I had different profits right there, but I took 3 trades right there. And that's pretty much what I took from this point. But yeah, Justin, so if you were looking for this right here, yeah, that would be a valid sell if you decided to take it. But I'm not going to take it because, you know, obviously how the market's moving. So yeah, I mean, if you guys have any other questions, go ahead and put them in the chat so I can answer them. But like I mentioned, I think I'm done for the day. I'm not going to risk entering US 30 right now because there's just too much news going on this morning. I'm going to hold off until tomorrow so I can literally make all these losses back, and then I'll just make some more on top of that as well. So I think I'm done for US session. If you guys have questions, go ahead and ask away. Otherwise, I'm going to look at the Forex market over here and see if there's anything that we could possibly take. Looking at this right here for CHF JPY, this is a trade that I was going to call. However, I didn't call it because I didn't really see a bias in that direction. Right here for odd CAD. What I'm looking for here is I'm looking for a possible sell. If price ends up closing below this structure right here, then I'll call a sell for you guys, but we haven't had that yet. Same with odd CHF over here. If this ends up closing with this sell signal right here, then I'll possibly call a sell for you guys right here. I'm just having them marked up for the next candle close. The next candle close is at about in about 3 hours at 10. So around 10 o'clock, I'll see if there's any entries. If there's no entries here, then obviously we're gonna hold off. This entry for odd NZD came up right here, but this came up last night, so I didn't take it. But if you guys did take this trade, it's currently in profit and it's on its way to the TP over here for about 50 pips. Going to odd USD over here. If this ends up closing below this entry right here, technically this entry happened right here, but I didn't take it. So I'm just marking this up. So if you guys aren't familiar with the snipe strategy, basically we have a break and close path structure right here. We have the buy signal right here indicating a momentum swing upwards. And then from this point, this is where you would take the buy. So there's a couple entries here that were available, I guess, last night, but I didn't take them because it was a holiday. CHF JPY, same situation there. So I'm just preparing for the next candle close to hop into the next move, but there's just obviously just no entry that's available right here, right now. So yeah, same situation right here for EG. If this ends up closing above here, then this would be a buy entry. There's no confirmation for that yet. Same for EGA over here, EN over here. This was an entry that I saw last night. I didn't take it, but if you did take it, it would have been a full TP right there. Let's unmark that. EU, if this ends up closing above here, this would provide for a buy entry right here. So I'll be looking for that at 10. Mark that up right there. GA over here. This was an entry here that was also available. I was thinking about taking it, but actually we can probably still take it. It looks like 80 pairs. I just want to make sure these are all bullish. Okay, so yeah, this is why I didn't want to take that trade. The reason why I didn't want to take that trade right there is because it just wasn't one-sided. And you can see right here, it kind of went to some drawdown temporarily. It just becomes a risky trade because the thing is I like to look for a confluence here if I'm looking at all the GBP pairs, but I don't see one there. So let me just pull up the BXY over here and then the AXY over here. This is another reason why I didn't want to take that trade because price it's very indecisive, right? It's not going up and it's not going down. It's just going sideways. So in order for me to take this trade, I want to make sure that the pound is strong. And then for this right here, I want to make sure that opposite. For this right here, I want the pound to be weak. And then I want the Australian dollar to be strong. Right here, the Australian dollar is strong, but the pound is also somewhat strong, right? Looking at this over here, we would need this to be one-sided in order for me to want to take this trade. Looking at GCAD over here, nothing there. GBCHF, nothing there as well. GJ, possible entry here for a sell. So I'll keep that marked up for myself. GN over here, nothing there. GU, nothing there as well. NZD CAD. For this over here, same situation. There was a sell there. I didn't take it, but whoever did take it, you guys would have been into profit here. The full move would be down here. So technically it's still running. NZD CHF, same situation here. This would be a possible sell. Reason for that is because we have a break and close path structure right here. And we'll just write it to the next structure down there. It's just a small move though, so I don't think it's something that I would personally take. NZD JPY, no entry there. NZD USD, possible entry here, but it was too tight. So the next zone right here was only about 13 pips, not really worth the risk, right? USD CAD, nothing there. USD CHF, looking at this over here, this would be another entry that's available there. If this closes below there, the only problem is there's a lot of news. Look at this big, there's so much news going on right now, right? So with all this news right here, this is what makes it risky to take certain trades. But yeah, so I think that's it for the Forex pairs. I have them marked up right here. So if we do have those confirming moves, then I'll take the trade. But right now there's no confirming move, obviously. Right. So we'll have to wait until the next candle close, which is in about 2 hours and 33 minutes. Once it closes, we can decide whether we want to take the trade or not. So I think that's it for now. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. I don't see anything here in the chat, so I don't think there's anything that you guys really need. If you guys want me to cover anything specific, regarding trade psychology, managing risk, FTMO, any of the K2 strategies you guys want me to cover and show you guys, I can show you guys, because there's obviously nothing for us to, nothing for us to really look at right now. So I'm not going to mess with US 30, obviously. And I'm not going to mess with the Forex pairs until the next candle close. So if you guys have questions, this is probably your best time to ask me, because I'm not focused on anything right now. I can literally answer any questions you guys have. But yeah, I mean, just looking at the Dow index right here, it's still pretty green, but I'm not really going to mess with it. Let's see what kind of news they got over here. It said oil jumps to 2-year highs. OPEC and allies reconfirm gradual production increase. So OPEC might be affecting the market today too. This is something that I probably should have taken into consideration, because whenever the OPEC meetings happen, obviously oils is one of the main things that controls the market, right? Depending on oil price, it can really affect the market, because a lot of things are tied in with regard to oil prices and stuff, right? Looking at today, the OPEC meeting is literally all day today. So this is something that I probably should have taken into consideration before taking the trade this morning. But I just wanted to enter some trades. So unfortunately, there's a lot of different factors that could have affected the market. The OPEC meeting, which is happening right now, the PMI news that happened about 30 minutes ago, and then also the Fed speaking later today. So there's a lot of different factors in the market that could be affecting it. But I mean, there's you can't really pinpoint exactly what's causing price to move in a certain direction. Yeah, short team said management of 200K FTMO account because it's a big account to manage. Yeah, exactly. Short team. That's why for me on 200K, I'm like really careful about the trades that I make. So yeah, going back to what I said earlier, short team, I'm not sure if you heard me. The risk that I took on the 200K, I only took because my max daily loss is a 5% risk, which is 10K, right? So for US 30 over here, I'm only risking about 5% when I enter the trade. Like for example, over here for this move over here, since we were going to take this, what was it, the opening entry right here? Looking at this right here, I'm going to use the measuring tool. Okay, so looking at this right here, we entered off this candle right here, and this right here would have been a 5% risk for me. So if I held all the way to this position, this area right here, I'd lose 5% of the, obviously of the account. But I closed out around, like when it started to bounce around this area, I closed around a little higher above it. So I lost maybe 3 to 4%, but I wasn't reaching my max daily loss because yesterday I made 3,000 or close to 4,000. So technically I could have lost like a lot more, like way down here, but I closed out like up here so I could cut my losses. And I only lost about maybe 3 to 4%. It might seem like a lot, but the thing is I was already up like, 3%, or I was up like 1 to 2% yesterday. So that carries over to today. And, my risk was well within the max daily loss. So just a confirmation that, I do manage my risk properly. It might seem like a lot, like this might seem like a big loss because it's like 10,000, but the thing is I was able to lose like 14,000 for the day. So I technically only lost like about 7,000, 8,000 because I cut out a little early because I wanted to re-enter, but obviously, it is what it is. Just got to eat that loss. And then tomorrow I'll just make it back. I mean, it's not that bad. We can make all that back. We can make like 5% in a day easily. So tomorrow we just need to have a good day. I'll recoup those losses and then I'll just balance out in net positive profits for the week and for the month as well. But it's whatever, shit happens. And that's just the way of the market. So let's see. Nick said heavy manipulation is also always followed by huge adjustment back at the proper price. Yeah, exactly, Nick. So what I see happening here is, so from here up until, I mean, it might not happen right now, but for the next couple hours over here, like it might keep coming down, but eventually I think from now until noon, I don't know, whatever lunchtime it is. Yeah, from this area, I don't know when it'll come back, but eventually it's going to swing back up. So I don't know if this is going to be the bottom here. This might be considered the bottom right here, and then it just might swing all the way back up. The main thing that you're looking for is for price to swing above the pivots, right? That's the main thing that we're looking for here. Because once it swings above the pivots, that's going to confirm that the trend's starting to shift back upwards. So looking at the 1 minute over here, we'll just move this down a little lower. Yeah, so like looking at this right here, this might shift back up. So like, for example, if it shifts back up to this point right here, and we're basically just shifting it over, like this is basically where we anticipated price to go. Like what I see happening is it's going to come back to this area over here. It's just going to correct back to where it was on market open. So maybe down here actually, or this whole area. So what I see happening is that it's probably going to swing back up to this area right here. And this happens all the time. It's, no, this is a common move. See, Neandro wants me to take a look at NASDAQ 100. Yeah, I did see that. I did see that Jeff said that NASDAQ died. So let's see, we'll pull up the NASDAQ right here. Yeah, looking at the NASDAQ over here, I'll just pull up the zones real quick. Zoom out from this point over here, because I did see some of you guys did lock in some like pretty heavy profit off the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ doesn't move the same way as US 30, but it did drop today too. So it looks like all the indices kind of tanked today. Not sure exactly why. I don't know if it was because of the OPEC news or whatever else news that came out, the PMI, but it looks like a lot of the indexes did tank pretty heavily today. So let's see that right there. There. All right, so looking at this right here, I mean, there's no entries that were, I mean, technically there was a sell entry that was available right here, but we wouldn't have taken it because we didn't have a sell signal there. But yeah, I mean, just looking at the NASDAQ right here, I mean, same situation. It's pretty, it's moving pretty weird. Damn, this thing dropped a lot. So the NASDAQ actually dropped way more than US 30. So the NASDAQ dropped about like 1,500 pips. I guess not as much, but it did drop pretty heavily right here, Neandro. It dropped, and it looks like it's going to swing back up as well. So we can look at the fundamentals for that too. So like looking at this right here, the NASDAQ, it was red, but it's now starting to shift back up. So we can even look at the index right here, look at the NASDAQ 100. So looking at this over here, we can see that majority of them are red, but it's starting to shift up a little bit. So, I mean, it's pretty flat. Looking at the NASDAQ right here, this is the NASDAQ index. So looking at the fundamentals over here, it's kind of down the middle. It's not really going straight up, or it's not going straight down like how it is for the Dow. But it does look like it's starting to shift up. Because let me see. I don't know any of these companies, obviously. They're like smaller tech companies. But looking at the overall, it's only down 2 points. And it's starting to shift up to the green side. It's only down -1 point now. And then probably in a few seconds, it's going to go positive. Because obviously you can see it's starting to shift up, right? Looking at this here and then looking at US 30, it's starting to shift up like where it was supposed to go from market open over here. Neandro said, I have a sell and I've taken a sell and now for a buy for long term. Yeah, I mean, if you have the buy right there, I think it's going to recover back up, Neandro. I think it should be fine if you took the buy right there, because it looks like it's going to shift back up. But I mean, who knows? I personally wouldn't take it right now because of the Fed speaking. But I mean, if you want to take it, feel free. I think it's definitely going to swing back up though. Just looking at the indexes over here, everything's pretty green. It's green on the Dow 30. It's green on the S&P. The NASDAQ's the only one that's red right now. The Russell 2000 is up 12 points, and the VIX is up just a point as well. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for now. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to ask away. I can answer your questions right now. Yeah, US 30 is really going to swing back up now, huh? All right. The thing with US 30 is if it swings back up, that's fine. It's just going to confirm our it's just going to confirm our bias for the day. If it does swing back up, I'm not really salty about it. It's kind of like whatever, because I already ate the loss off that. Let's see, Zephyr said my question, or sorry, Zephyr, let me see what you see over here. Ms. AB is asking, do you have a job or you just trade? I just trade. I trade full time. I used to be an attorney. That was my normal job, but I haven't been an attorney. I haven't practiced law in like over a year now. So I stopped practicing law like last March. I've been trading for over a year now, full time. Zephyr said, hi, Shawn. Assuming that you are not an FTM but on a personal account, you said just now that you would have held on because fundamentals still showing gains. My question is on trading psychology. Would you look back at the technicals on the lower time frame, like 1 hour or 4 hour to support the thing in a long for it to swing back up? Sorry, Zephyr. Let me reread your question because you said looking at the technicals on the lower time frame. I think you mean the opposite, right? The higher time frame, because the 1 hour and 4 hour would be higher than the 10-minute. So yeah, I would look back at the higher time frames to see where the technicals are going. But my main, like the reason for me to hold stuff would be based off the fundamentals. I wouldn't really base it off the technicals, because even if I was looking at the technicals, I would only be looking on the shorter time frame because we're trading for the day, right? I'm not trying to hold this for like days on end. I'm just holding it for that specific day. So I wouldn't necessarily, I mean, you could look back at the previous time frame. So like looking at this over here, we can possibly go back to say the 1 hour, like you mentioned, right? Looking at this right here, it's still pretty bullish, right? This is probably going to reject off this pivot right here. And then it's probably going to bounce back up because the fundamentals still show a bullish move. So looking at the 1 hour right here, yeah, this would indicate that, or it wouldn't indicate, but it would still confirm that it's a bullish move. Looking at the 4 hour over here as well, it's still pretty bullish, right? It's literally rejecting off this pivot right here. And it'll probably just bounce off it and swing back up where it's supposed to go. But the thing with this is these are like, I mean, you wouldn't really be looking at the higher time frame because this is a big move. This is already like 300 pips. This is like 1,000 pips. Like you're not gonna be holding this for over 1,000 pips, right? If you're scalping it, 1,000 pips is already way too far out. So I wouldn't really go in the higher time frame. I mean, you could look at it for a confirmation, but looking at it here, it's still pretty bullish on the technical side. Looking on the 1 minute, it's going to be bullish here as well. And then looking on the 10-minute where we are actually trading, it looks like it's just going slightly down for a pullback, and then it's going to shift back up. So I would still base it off the fundamentals. I wouldn't base it off the technicals. The technicals are just a confirmation. I would mainly look at the fundamentals to see, because the fundamentals aren't going to lie to you, right? The technicals could lie to you. The technicals could show you that price is going down temporarily. And then what happens is people will it'll be a fire sell, right? Everyone will hop into the sell. And then as soon as you start to notice, it's going to shift all the way back up for a reversal, because the fundamentals are always going to be leading. Because technicals, there's always going to be noise there. If you look at candles, there's always going to be noise here, right? Like looking at this here, there's always going to be noise where it's going to, consolidate. Like right here, if you look at this from a bigger perspective, you can see obviously it's a downtrend, right? But right here, there's a lot of noise where the technicals will just lie to you. It'll show you that you think price will be going up, but realistically, it's just going to come all the way back down. So I wouldn't necessarily base stuff off the technicals. I would use technicals as a confirmation, but I would use the fundamentals as your foundation, right? Because obviously, if you're looking right here, it's trying to shift back up. It's just going to take some time. It's only 740 right now. So it's probably going to shift back up. It's just, I already have it marked up right here, right? So you guys can see I marked this up. So like in the next couple hours or so, I'll just send you guys a screenshot and we'll see if it actually played out like we thought it would, because it's technically supposed to go up. The fundamentals are leading. And looking at the fundamentals over here, it's still up like 100 points. Harris is asking, so what can you use for fundamentals? Harris, you've been in this room for like every day, right, Harris? Because I look at the same fundamentals every day. I'm not sure if you just missed what I've been looking at, but I look at the actual stock index. That's basically what fundamentals are, because you're looking, the fundamentals are the stocks right here. This is what moves the market. If the fundamentals are showing that everything's green, then price should be going up, right? So fundamentals are going to be the actual stocks. This is everything. The US 30 is based off these stocks right here. So yeah, I'm not sure if you've been following along here, because this is literally what I do every day. And I know you're here every day, so I'm not sure if you missed what I've been talking about. But if you want to go back and rewatch like every live stream for like the past year or so, around this time, you can see that I mean, I cover the same thing every day. It's the same fundamentals we look at. Fundamentals are based off the actual stocks that move price. Because right here, price can get manipulated. Like right here, this is huge manipulation, right? Price shouldn't be moving like 2,000 pips right here, and opposite of the actual fundamentals. But yeah, Harris, but the fundamentals I look at are the actual stocks here, because this is what actually moves price. Obviously, people can take big buys and big sells, and they can push price one way or the other. But the actual, like, where the price is going to go is going to be based off the actual stock index right here. Because people are going to follow along. Like whales can go and push price one way, and then it's going to have to recover, because it just makes no sense for price to go one direction. But one direction, but the fundamentals are showing the other direction. So Zephyr said, yes, because it's on a longer time frame, it'll be slower to react. Thus, on early assessments will stand. Yeah, exactly, Zephyr. So Zephyr said, so I feel like I'm cheating myself by looking at the higher time frames to stay in the trade. So I often wonder if I should do that. I never do that, Zephyr. Well, I do that for Forex, but not for because for Forex, you'll hold trades for like days, right? It's like intraday trade. You'll hold it for days, maybe a week in some instances if necessary. So for Forex, I would use the higher time frames, but for US 30, you're not really trying to hold this into like further sessions, right? Because the higher time frames, this is irrelevant for you. Because the thing is, if you're trading on the 4 hour, you can see here that each of these candles are like 3,000 pips, right, Zephyr? So you're not going to be holding this for 3,000 pips. That's way too long to be holding it. Even though it could be a good trade, I mean, it's still going to be risky. Like for example, right here, if you were to take this buy right here because it falled within the requirements for a buy, you'd have to eat a drawdown of about nearly 2,000 pips before it continued in your direction. Or actually, it didn't even go into profit until like way later. So this is like, I mean, it's just super risky for you to trade on the 4 hour. Zephyr said, okay, gotcha. So what are you looking should always correspond with your holding? It's the fundamentals. Fundamentals are always going to be foundation, like I mentioned before. If the market's closed, and I'll look at the future index, because the future market doesn't close. So if you look at the future index here, you can see how high it is, like how many points it's up. So I would look at this, and then I would tie it with the technical analysis. So if this is green here, like it's above 100 points, say this is off market, like not not US market, right? Sorry. But yeah, going back to what I was saying earlier, Zephyr. So if I'm trading Asia session, say you took a buy here in US session, right? And then you hold it over until Asia session. The futures market is still open. So you can see how the Dow is moving after market hours over here. If this is up like 100 points and price is going up, then I'll continue holding it for a buy or whatever, right? And then that's where I'll base it off. So I'll base it off the fundamentals here, and then I'll tie it with the technicals here. So if the technicals are bullish, the fundamentals are bullish, then that's where I would take a trade. And then that's where it would tell me to hold up on that if that becomes the case there. So like, for example, here, if you're taking this trade here and you're in a sell, and then you're looking at the fundamentals here on the daily, and you're like, oh, the daily is up 120 points or 130 points, right? And you're looking at the future index, and you're like, oh, this is up 100 points as well. You know, what's probably going to happen with the Dow 30? It's probably going to skyrocket up at some point there. So that's basically what I use there, Zephyr. I mean, there's a lot of different things you can use, but one thing to keep me held into the trade would be looking at the fundamentals. But you got to make sure to use proper risk. Like if you try to do something like that, like where you want to get greedy and hold on to it longer, you got to make sure that you take, like before entering the trade, you have to already understand that you're okay. This trade might not go my way, so I'm going to use a smaller lot size, because technically the most that I'm willing to lose is 1,000 pips, right? So this right here is the most I'm willing to lose if I'm using a normal lot size. If I'm using half lot size, you can lose double that, right? You can go all the way down here to 2,000 pips. If you're using a quarter lot size, you can lose quadruple that, right? So if you're using a quarter lot size, you can literally hold on to the trade till it goes down here. because your risk doesn't change. You're still risking the same amount of money, but you're able to hold it longer. So like, for example, right here, you can literally hold this to down there if you're taking a quarter lot size, right? If you're taking a standard lot size, this is my max loss. This is all that I'm looking to lose. If I take a half lot size, I'm willing to lose this much. If you're taking a quarter lot size, you can lose up to here. So what I recommend is, if whenever you guys enter a trade, go in with a plan. So if you go into a trade and you're like, oh, this looks risky, take a half lot size, take a quarter lot size, because you're like, all right, if that becomes the case and the market starts to play with me like it's doing right here, I can still hold on like farther down here and I'm still going to lose as much money. Like, for example, right here, if I'm risking up to this point, I'm on a 200K account. So if I'm losing up to this point, this is 5%. I'm okay to lose 10,000 right here. So depending on your lot size, this would be a 10,000 lot, 10,000 risk. Let me choose this real quick. So this right here would be a $10,000 risk, but a $10,000 risk to me is completely different from someone else on a smaller account. I can lose this, and this is only 5% for me. This is what I mean about using proper risk. If you're using a half lot size, then if you're using, like, for example, if I'm using a 10 lot, this is going to be a $10,000 loss. If I'm using a 0.50 lot, this is only going to be a $5,000 loss. So technically, if I want to lose 10,000, I can lose up to here. If I'm using a 0.25 lot, or what is it, a 2.5 lot, I could lose up to here and it'd still be a $10,000 risk, right? So you guys have to understand proper risk. A lot of people don't understand that. And that's why sometimes I'll tell you guys before I take a trade, like, hey, this is a risky trade. I'm taking a half lot. That means that I'm taking not a 10 lot, I'm taking a 5 lot. So I can risk more. Like, I can literally risk double what I was anticipating on losing normally. So whenever you guys go into a trade, always have a plan. Like, if you think it's a risky trade, take a smaller lot size. If you think it's going to be a sure shot trade, then take a normal lot size. Today, I thought this was a sure shot trade, so I took a normal lot size. I mean, whatever, it's cool. I took a small loss trade. I lost like about 3 or 4%. And then I had a win from last night. I was already up 3,000, 4,000. So I could have technically lost, up to down here if I wanted to, but I didn't. I closed out up here so that I could possibly re-enter later, but I didn't end up re-entering because the market's the market's playing too much right now, guys. There's no point in really playing in this market because there's just too much that's going on. So let me just scroll up real quick and see what else do I have over here. Sam's asking, hey, Shawn, how do I get to the page with individual stocks on CNBC for DAX? So Sam, if you're looking at my screen right now, so as you can see right here, this is the individual stocks right here from this. What would you do? What you would do is just go here to international and then click on the DAX right there. So we'll have the DAX right there. Let me see if I could find it. Actually, let me just check this real quick. You could probably just Google it. Let's see, CNBC DAX index. Let me see if I can find it for you. I haven't looked at it myself, so I can't really say exactly where to find it. But so here's the DAX index right here. Oh, here we go. Let me see. I forgot what I looked at when let's see. Because the thing is, the DAX has a lot of different it has a lot of different symbols for it. So I'm not sure which one. Yeah, I don't know if I could. Sorry, let me see if I could look, because I did look up the so it's US 30 CNBC index. All right, so it comes up on here. I don't know if you can find the actual index here. Let me see. Maybe this. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly where to look for it because I don't know if it's on here. Sectors. Because CNBC is basically, I mean, it's mainly I mean, it's international, but it's not necessarily, they don't cover everything there. What you could probably do is you could probably just add it to your own watch list. I don't have my account anymore. I had a CNBC Pro, or you might have to have CNBC Pro. That might be it, Sam. Because I had CNBC Pro before, but I never really used it, so I canceled it. But I think it might be part of the Pro option. So I think they have a free, they have like a free trial you can use with CNBC to get a Pro account, and then you might be able to find it there. Because I'm on the free account right now, so I can't really see it here. I can only see the US ones here, unless you might have to change you're international, so you might be able to see it. But looking at me here, I mean, I only have the US stuff here on my end, so I can't really pull it up for myself. So yeah, sorry, I don't know where to find it on here, Sam. What you can do too is you can just look at this right here. So what you can do is you can just pull up the actual the DAX right here, and then you can see where it's at, right? You can see where the number's at. If it's above 100 points, then generally it's going to be bullish fundamentally. If it's below like negative 100, then it's going to be bearish. So you can use this as well as an indicator when to determine, what your bias is on the fundamental side. But you might need a Pro account, or you might have to have your internet located overall. I mean, your internet located internationally to have access to that. All right, let me scroll up real quick. Short Scene said, from the time you started FTMO, how much profit have you made from FTMO till now? I don't know, because I didn't start the 200K until like this year, like early, like probably in February. So like I was on 100K last year. I probably made, because I usually make like around like, I'm a conservative trader on my funded account. I'm obviously, you guys can see I only take like a couple trades a day. So I probably make, last year, I was probably making about like 5 to 10% per month around there, maybe less on the slower months. So that'd probably be 1,000 each. So I'd probably make like maybe, I don't know, I started trading, I got funded in like June. So it was like 6 months. And then on average, I was probably making 5% a month, right? On a 100K account. So like that times 6. So this is probably from last month. I mean, from last year. It wasn't that much, because obviously I was only on FTMO for like half the year. Or actually, I didn't get funded until July. So probably on average, maybe 5% a month, for not even 6 months, maybe 5 months. So this is probably what I did last year. And then this year I did the 200K account, like I think in March. So it's only March, June, July, right? March, June. So it's only been 3 months. So now I'm doing about 10% a month off that. So it's probably like 20, it's probably like 15. We'll do, I'll like, I'm not going to give you guys the huge number, because it's unrealistic for you guys to really hit the huge numbers every single month, right? Because there's going to be losses here and there. Like the past 3 months, thankfully, we haven't had many losses. So my wins have been a lot more than others. So, this times 3, that's probably how much you made total. So probably totally just these two combined. So like maybe 60, maybe 4, it's somewhere around that area. Short Scene, I don't have a specific number for you, but it's gonna be around that area, because I only make like about 1 to 10% a month. Like a lot of people make it seem like they make a shitload, because, well, they probably do, because they take bigger trades. But for me, if you guys have seen my profits here, I don't really take big trades. I only take like 3 or 4 trades a day, but I don't really lose, right? Like I think the last time we had a loss was like a month ago. So the thing is, like, if you guys see my profits here, I'm making decent profit a day, like a couple $1,000 a day, if not a week. But I don't really lose. So the thing is, it just keeps adding up from there, right? So if you guys look at my profits here, I'm only making like a couple of thousand a month. You guys will see a lot of other people make bigger profits, because they're taking more trades. For me, I'm only taking like 2 or like, I'm happy with what I'm doing now. So I'm not really taking too much risk. There's a difference when you guys get funded, because once you get funded, you're going to start to realize that it's not really worth the risk taking the huge trades and risking too much. I usually just lock in what I'm happy with. Like if I'm happy with 1,000, 2,000 for the day, I'll just close out at that, because it's not my money that I'm risking, right? Like my main goal is just to make profit at the end of each month. But yeah, I mean, that's the number right there, Sam. It's not a lot. It's not a huge amount, but it's going to grow from here, right? Because now I have multiple accounts, obviously. So my main goal is not to lose a funded account and to just make profit each month. And you know, it's just an ongoing process from there. So, and this money, like once I have enough profit, I'm probably gonna I'll probably, well, you know, we're gonna start to move into the prop firm stage of K2, not necessarily to have an open market, but mostly just for the K2 members. Yeah, sure. Seems that's great, consistent basis, having 8 to 10% a month. Yeah, I mean that's what it really is, guys. It's more so about managing your risk, right? You guys have to manage your risk, because the thing is, you'll see a lot of people, they'll make like a ton of profit and they'll lose it all the next day. For me, I'll make consistent profit. I'll make like, you know, 1 to 3% a day, if not a week, and then it just compounds over time. Because my main goal is just not to lose, and that's why I take less trades. Like for example, today I probably lost about 7,000, right? Lost 7,000 from this trade here. But last night I made 3,000. So that loss wasn't that bad. And then last week, what was it, on Thursday or Friday, I made about 1,000 over here, or 3,000. So basically today's loss, I basically lost today's winnings, and then I lost the winnings from Thursday and maybe Wednesday. So I'm still, overall for the month, I'm doing well. It's just manage the risk properly to continue. Man, I hate these like crypto scammers in here. Let's delete this guy. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much, once you guys get funded, you guys will start to understand it's not about making the big profits, it's about making consistent profits, because it's basically at the end of the day, guys, it's free money. That's why I like to trade with FTMO, because I don't have to risk it. If I was risking 10,000 of my own money, you know, I'd for sure be sweating, but I'm risking FTMO's money. So it's not a big deal to me. The main goal is just to take proper risk and move forward with this. Let's see, Zephyr said, now I understand proper risk, but it is innate not to close with a loss. So another way to circumvent a losing trade is to see if I can still be a valid trade holding on to a different strategy, especially if on a higher time frame. It gives you sorry, Zephyr said, especially if the higher time frame gives you and requires a more risk buffer. It's like when the 1 minute goes bad, but there's an ongoing 3-minute strategy, I'll treat it as, no, I do the same thing, Zephyr. You should always base all your trades off the higher time frame. If you guys look at how I trade, I usually base all my trades off the 10-minute, and then I'll scalp within the scalp. So like, for example, here, if I'm taking the 10-minute and it says a sell or a buy, and then I look over on the 3-minute and it's going the opposite slightly, then I'll probably hold on to it, because it's probably gonna correct back. So that's basically what, it's not a wrong way of thinking, Zephyr. That's exactly how I trade as well. But I would base your entry off the higher time frame. So like, for example, if you're scalping, I'd base all your trades off the 10-minute, but you can base your entries off the 3-minute. So if it goes opposite direction, you can just hold on to it, because it'll probably correct back to where it's supposed to on, you know, the quote unquote higher time frame. Even though it's a 10-minute time frame, this is still considered a higher time frame compared to the 3-minute and the 1-minute. So yeah, no, you're proper with that, Zephyr. I do the same thing. Because like for me, I just don't like to lose trades. You know, you guys have seen me. I'll hold trades like for days. Like on last Tuesday, we had I mean, what was it? Like last Tuesday, we had a trade that literally was just going opposite for like a whole day or two. And then eventually it came up, but I held on to that trade. So I still locked off. I locked in a pretty heavy profit. So let me just scroll up real quick. If you guys remember on Tuesday, we held this trade for like, I think it was 2 days. Oh, it was this one right here. So on my other account, I held this trade for like literally 2 days, and it finally came up and I hit profit, and then I pulled out. So, you know, Zephyr, we're in the same boat with this. If our bias shows a bullish move, I'm going to hold on to it, even though it's dropping, because, you know, I think it's going to swing back to where it's supposed to go. So no, you're fine with that, Zephyr. You're completely fine with that thought process. As long as you're using proper risk. If you use a smaller lot size, then you're fine. But if you're using a full lot size, you have to understand to pull out when it's time. Yonan said goodbye on US 30, bouncing off the 10-minute. WMA markets rolling over and going down. No, I could see that too, Yonan. Our bias for today is still bullish for US 30. Obviously, looking at the index over here, it's still up 100 points, and also looking at the Dow index. Let me see this. Sorry, I think I lost the see Dow 30 index, CNBC. Yeah, so looking at this over here, it's still pretty bullish overall on this end over here. And so I think, yeah, I mean, a buy could be fine, but like I mentioned earlier, guys, there's a lot of news going on today, so it's not something that I would mess with. I think eventually it's going to swing back up by the end of the day today, but with the news happening this morning, I'm not really going to play with it, especially right now where there hasn't been confirmation for the 10-minute to swing back above. Like if it swings above here, Ionin, then yeah, I would start taking that buy, but it hasn't swung up above it yet. I mean, if you want to take risk, you can, but there's just no guarantee it's going to swing up just yet. I think it's going to swing up. I have it marked up right here. So I'll look at this in the next couple hours or so. But yeah, I mean, personally, I'm probably going to hold off on it myself. So, all right, guys, I think that's it for today. It's 8 o'clock. Like I mentioned before, I don't want to stay on this chart because if I stay on, I'm going to take some unnecessary risk and I'm going to start to take some trades that I shouldn't be taking. So I think that's it for this session. Unfortunately, we did take a loss off the breakout entry. You know, obviously there's a lot of market manipulation today. So shit happens. You know, this is just one of those days where the market just doesn't do what it's supposed to do. But eventually, I think it's going to swing back up. So I'm going to log off this session because if I stay on, I know I'm going to try to hop into a buy, like exactly what Ionin's doing. He's trying to time the buy right here. And I don't want to do that because I'm already close to my daily risk for the day. Yeah, exactly right, Peter. Peter said 1 loss today, 5 wins tomorrow. So I'm definitely anticipating to make all this back tomorrow, guys. I didn't lose that much. Like, you know, going back to what I was talking with Short Scene about, I'm only down about 3 or 4% for the day. And then I had a win yesterday. I had 3 wins yesterday for about 3,000. So I'm technically, I mean, I could risk a little more. I technically only lost about maybe 2 or 3% if we factor in these losses, this win here with my loss for today. So I lost about 8,000 today. I made about 3,400 the day prior. So I'm only down like maybe 5,000 or 4,000 for the day. So it's not a huge loss for me. But you know, with the market conditions right now, I'm not trying to play around with the market. So I think that's it for now. And I'll definitely catch you guys back here tomorrow morning as we bounce back from this weird trading day. But I'll be available on the Telegram if you guys have questions. Otherwise, I'm just going to stay off the charts because I don't want to risk taking any other trades. So I'll catch you guys tomorrow, or I'll catch you guys in the chat. I'll be watching. I'll give you guys the update probably maybe around noon my time.